This is Boxes and Briefs, a podcast with real-life business stories. But we will be asking the hard questions and challenging traditions. So broaden your thinking with fresh perspectives and solve problems for business success. Welcome to another episode of Boxes and Briefs. My name's Lisa.
I'm Kelly.
And today we have with us Bill Bain. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So you're back for round 2 with us?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me back.
No problem.
Pleasure to have you.
For those who don't know Bill, he is an executive coach. He helps business leaders and teams create outstanding customer experiences through purposeful culture and a high-performance teamwork. So creating culture, that's a whole thing. But today we're diving into kind of creating raving fans from your customers and the secret sauce of how you do that.
Well, yeah, it's a great subject and one that's very dear to my heart. So I look forward to having a chat.
Excellent. Well, let's kick it off then. So what's the biggest misconception that business owners have about creating great customer experiences?
I think some of the misconceptions that they have is that there's not a lot of value in it. So they lack the understanding of how valuable it is. So ultimately, when you have great customer feedback and loyalty and all of that, which means you're creating raving fans, you get more revenue. It happens. They're willing to spend more with you.
Yeah.
Everything makes sense.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. What I'm going to tell you all is not rocket science.
Okay.
You all know it. So you're actually going to keep your customers longer.
Yep.
Costs less over time.
Yep.
And the other thing is they are brand advocates. They are your marketing.
Yes. You can't beat word of mouth, right?
No, absolutely not.
So if somebody else recommends the product, the service, the people.
That's right. So even if you go, above the line marketing campaigns or whatever it is, when you've got brand advocates, that's the big thing.
Can I just pause? Can you
Sure.
explain to me above the line marketing?
Above the line marketing is often with regards to the TV advertising, different types of advertising where people actually see it. So you're spending the money above the line.
Okay.
Below the line is a lot of it with details, with emails or social media and things of that nature.
Okay.
Which it still comes into play.
Yeah.
Insofar
No,
as
I interrupt because there are many different meanings of above the line, below the line. There's one in marketing, there's one in coaching, there's one in leadership, there's all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
making sure we knew which one you were talking about.
Yeah, and hopefully
Yeah.
I got it right. So the other part of it is that what they again don't understand is that they think it is what they think is a extraordinary is actually quite often ordinary.
I'm with you.
Right?
Yep.
So my whole gig with people, businesses, and is about being extraordinary.
Yes.
Ultimately, no matter what service or product you provide, it will be something that someone else provides. The only differences that you may have, other than trying to go into that price war side of things, will be how the customer's experience works with you.
Yes.
That's
Now,
the difference.
I've been in on a workshop that you've done,
Yep.
which is, okay, guys, how are we going to be extraordinary? And we've made a list of things that we think are extraordinary, and 9 times out of 10, 90% of them are ordinary.
Correct.
And an example is things like getting the job done on time. That'll make the customer love us. Well, duh. Of course. Like, that's just your table stakes, right? So then you go into the phase of what's extraordinary.
That's correct. So luckily you weren't the ones that said delivering things on time. However, however, that did come across in one of the workshops I did with a company. So getting things done on time, to me, as anyone would sit there and say, well, that's what you should be doing, day in, day out. So the difference is, how do you become extraordinary? And especially in customer experience side of things.
Yeah.
So the other thing is that the misconception that they have is they think it's easy.
What, to create extraordinary?
To create great customer experiences in the extraordinary side of things. They think it's easy.
What I'm hearing is that to be ordinary takes effort. To be extraordinary takes more effort.
Lots more.
Lots more.
Lots more.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not easy, but It can be easier once you get to a stage.
Yep.
It becomes easy.
Because you've implemented it little by little, step by step.
Exactly.
And the extraordinary becomes normal.
Kinda, yeah. But it's your normal, not normal by any other standard.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me a story, because we like stories. What was the key to success of a business that transformed just normal customers into these raving fans that you're talking about?
Okay. Apologies if I've told this story before, but I will anyway. I've got an extensive background in grocery, so going into grocery stores is the least appealing thing to me. There was a New World in Howick that had opened up, and my wife and I went to it, and there was a difference, a complete difference of what it was about. Table stakes it was clean, shelves were stacked, and I guess that's probably, in grocery, that's probably good table stakes.
Yep.
The difference is that when we went to the cashier and went to pay, they genuinely looked into our eyes and said, "How are you going?" They created a personal conversation.
Oh, instead of the usual, "Hi, how are you?"
Yep. Yeah, you put 10 cents into their mouth and that's what comes out.
Yep.
And they genuinely cared. I thought, I like this. So I'm talking, we're out of our way from our home to go to this place.
Yeah.
So I decided, like, every time Allie might want something and I had time, I'd go there. I'd volunteer to go.
Yep.
And the story behind all this is that usual thing, I couldn't find one thing on the shopping list. The people who are stocked on the shelves, if they're in your way, they'll look at you and apologize and say, "Can I help you get something?" Cool. And then it became, I said, "Well, I'm looking for this thing." And the guy says, "Well, you keep shopping, and I'll see if I can find it for you." Cooler. Then it became, the guy showed up while I was hiking around, and he came with another person. And he said, "I couldn't find it. This is the assistant store manager. Can you explain what you're looking for?" I did that. Same thing. "You keep going, sir. I'll go hunt." He comes back with 2 offers. One of them was correct. So that personal piece with the assistant store manager helping me just reinvigorated my desire to go. Or
your loyalty.
It was my loyalty.
Yeah.
They would have people, checkout people or people on customer service, because a lot of seniors or more senior than I am would shop there. If it was pouring with rain, you'd see a guy out there with the umbrella assisting a lady to her car who would be out in the rain and loading up the boot or whatever, and she's not wet.
But look, these little stories that you're telling now has made you a raving fan.
Correct.
Now you're talking about it on a podcast, and people are going to go to Howick New World and have a look.
I hope so. Yeah. Well, interesting. Yeah. So I'll revert back to that discussion in another point.
Okay.
But another wonderful one that I have done in many, many occasions is 2001, family over in Vancouver on vacation. 9/11 happens, got to get back.
Yeah.
Phone the insurance company, "Are we covered?" First words out of the mouth, "Are you and your family okay?" Personal.
Yeah.
We get back, I wait a couple of weeks thinking that I should contact them and tell them we're back.
Yeah.
Different call person, first words, "Glad you're home safely."
Yeah.
See the difference?
Yeah.
And I've spoken to over 400, 500 people at workshops and tell that story.
Yeah.
Southern Cross, travel insurance.
Yeah.
I'll say it again.
Yeah. No, I get it, because we're moving into an age where loyalty doesn't mean much anymore. You know, it used to be, "I've banked with this bank for 15 years, so I should be able to get an extension on my loan." It doesn't actually mean that anymore.
No.
We're moving into a different form of loyalty.
Well, it's funny you say banks. Now, there's one or two of you here that probably don't remember back in the day when you literally took a book in and they stamped your book, and you always went to the same teller.
Yeah.
Because he or she knew you.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
Yeah.
You're too young.
So you'd never switch banks.
Yeah.
You know, even if the interest rate was slightly off or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
But once all that stopped and banks made it easy for you to switch, you'd switch
Yep.
based upon whatever.
So the question here is about going above and beyond. What does it look like in practice? But you've just given us a bunch of examples.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and there's another one that I will refer to that I really liked is Zappos is an online, or is an online shoe company.
Right.
And it was privately owned or on the share market, whatever it was. And their number one value is deliver wow through service.
Deliver
Wow through
Wow.
wow through service.
WOW. Wow.
Through service. Now,
That's a pretty cool.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
I like it.
yeah. So one of the stories that came from that was they call center whatever called and said, look, I've got my shoes, I'm past the date I'm allowed to return them, and the reason is my mother died and I was all tied up with all that. So no problem. They sent them the return bag, just said send it back. That got done. And then not long afterwards, a bouquet of flowers and a sympathy card showed up at the person's door.
Aw.
Wow.
You see?
There's the wow.
There's the
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
It's
And
that
they're
question mark.
And they're not doing it to, I guess, enhance them. They're
Yeah.
doing it because that's what they do.
Yeah.
It gets reciprocated. It's not false. It's genuine.
Yeah.
That's why it's not that easy. But once you get to the tipping point,
Yep.
boy, oh boy,
Those impressions do matter.
they do.
They do. Okay, so what's the most common mistake you see businesses trying to make when they're trying to improve on that?
Okay, this is what drives everybody nuts. So when you start to look at a strategic plan,
Yeah.
which should be built, and they should have employee engagement or whatever, employees, and they should have customer. Right. So after that, it goes about that far. They don't do anything else.
Other than just putting that word in there.
It's all talk.
Right.
It all becomes talk. They don't invest any resources, money, time, anything into it. It's just talk. So that is the biggest failure that I see. And one of the reasons is they do not know what to do.
Okay.
It has to come down from the leaders. It has to come down of what our great customer experience is. So I've just told you a couple.
So how
People
does that
don't-
happen?
How does it happen? People don't think about it. It's only the small things.
It has to start at the top in order for it to happen in those little interactions that you have.
Spot on. And interestingly enough, I had the pleasure of meeting the owner of Howick New World because I wanted to tell him how impressed I was. And this is what I do. I consult, so I wanted to find out more. But I did note and did tell him that it had gone down. The service had gone down. Now this Howick New World gets the highest ratings on NPS scores out of all the foodstuffs group in the country.
Wow.
That's what they
Okay.
were. Then it went down a bit. So I said, but did you get a new store manager or whatever? He goes, no. He said, I took my foot off the throttle because I thought everyone was getting tired of me raving and being a fan and encouraging them to be themselves, encouraging them. So I thought my staff were just getting, shut up. Then he picked it back up again, and it followed back up.
That's scary.
It is.
That it relies on that person so much.
But it relies on every leader. The leader's got to do it.
Yeah,
it
true.
has to come from them, especially when you empower people to do things.
Love it. Love it.
So he tells a story of a guy, one of the guys at customer service, whereby this man brings back a bottle of wine half consumed. So it was one of those, the guy almost put him through the rigor, and the store manager goes, why are you getting so upset? Just replace the bottle, job done, or give him his money back. Oh, he drank half the bottle, he was probably abusing it. You say, well, if he comes in 5 times with half a bottle of wine every time, then you probably caught on he's abused it. Other than that, no questions asked, done.
Yep.
And he then empowered that employee to do such a thing.
That's the key.
Correct.
All right. We're going to take a break, but we'll get into it some more.
Boxes and Briefs is proudly brought to you by Gilligan Sheppard, the problem solvers in business.
Okay, Bill, let's talk about complaint handling. Can you share an example where a complaint was turned into a raving fan opportunity?
Sure. Well, first of all, we have to, a complaint is a customer service issue.
Yes.
Generally, customer services handle that. So customer service is reactive. Customer experience is generally proactive.
Okay.
And or they can take a complaint and put a cherry on the top. Everything's cool. So had a recent one. And we are at the stages of basically finishing our house and landscaping and everything. And the project manager, my wife, ordered fencing, pool fencing, even though we don't have a pool, but pool fencing from, let me get the company right, Boundary Line Fences,
Okay.
right? So we ordered it all. We had to go get it. And so I hooked on a trailer, and I'm never confident with that sort of thing. And I think, how are we going to load this stuff, all this stuff? We get there, it's a huge, actually, depot sort of thing, and warehouse. Pull in, and we go into the office area. The two customer service ladies, or whatever they might be, had their back to us, but once they, they're working in a separate little place, they know we came in, they turn around, both of them smiling and beaming at us. Ali says, my wife says, we're here for this, and she goes, cool. And they sign it all off, and I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to put it in here? And she goes, you don't do anything. We do it. Now, while we were standing there, though, in the offices, we could hear cheering and fun and stuff like that of the boys in the back. What I also took note of, everything's clean.
Okay.
Now, we're talking about a depot.
Yeah.
Everything's clean. These guys are having fun when they're probably, when they got a little bit of a break, whatever. Pull up, and guy comes out, and he comes out with his pallet full of this stuff. And he goes, there's your order. And I looked at it, I go, no. And he laughed and went, no, just kidding. So they sort of broke it down.
Yeah.
Then they said, right, I'll put on the stuff. And the fella says, I detect an accent. When'd you get here? He called me an American, which was a bit offside, but anyway.
Oh, that's like a Kiwi being called
Yeah,
Aussie.
yeah. So anyway, no aggro against all the Americans out there. But anyway, so he's, what brought you here? I said, playing rugby. Well, the conversation was full on.
Yeah.
These boys are having fun loading the stock on. So ultimately they said, because everything's wrapped in plastic and stuff, if you find any issue with any pane of fencing, come back to us, right?
Yep.
So we start putting it up, and one of the rungs or whatever you call it was squished,
Ew.
right? Because they import them.
Yeah.
So Ali phones them up. They said, no problem. You can either keep it, throw it away, bring it to us, and we'll throw it away, and we'll just throw a new one on for you. Just like that. The whole experience from woe to go, helping Ali with pricing, everything was made her happy, she's happy, I'm happy, we're away. So that complaint, which wasn't really a complaint, basically switched it.
Yeah.
And so when they sent out for feedback, I grabbed this one and I rated them 10 out of 10. I rated the people, I rated everything, the experience, tops.
Even though you had a squished rung, still 10s.
Absolutely.
Because they fixed it.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Just
Yeah,
like
I will say, like, when it comes to giving companies reviews, especially on Google, sometimes if you get a bad review, you can't remove it, right? So the best thing that you can do is try and address it.
Correct.
And if everybody else can see that you've tried to address the review, that's the best thing that you can do.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was the focus on us.
Yeah. And I think too many times people will take that complaint as a end of the world. Man, why do I try so hard? What's the point? Nobody understands all of the hard work that I did just to get you as a customer.
Yeah.
But
well,
if you actually took the complaint as a feedback to be better, you turn everything around.
Well, again, they don't make them, they import them.
Yep.
So they don't see every fence pane.
Yes.
So it's like, if there's a problem, just tell us.
So the difference between a satisfied customer and a raving fan is this gap that we're talking about, which is extraordinary. It's going above and beyond
That's right.
to do something above average.
Yeah. And it's amazing, though, that you would think that what they had done was
Normal.
theoretically average.
Yeah.
But it ain't.
No.
A lot of companies, there's a lot of
No,
rigmarole.
they don't.
Can you fill out this form, send us photos, do this, do that?
Right, well, let's segue then. So a lot of businesses will spend money trying to acquire new customers. Talk to me about how you would convince them instead to invest in the existing customer experience.
Okay. So one, let's come back to the acquisition side of things. Now,
Yeah.
acquisition, the reasons for acquisition are multiple. You're a startup, you need clients.
Yep.
You need scale to be able to maximize the manufacturing efficiencies.
Yep.
Or you get better buying power. All these things.
Your audience is aging out.
Yeah.
You need new blood.
Yeah. All that stuff. We want market share because we want to sell our stock, or we want to sell our shares. So you get that. The customer experience is forever. It's a strategy that stays.
Yeah.
Your acquisition strategies can go up and down when you want them and how you're going to do it.
So quiet, you'd look at acquiring? Or
Yeah.
do you stick with existing?
Well, if you're looking, one of the best things, if you're launching a new product or service, where's the best place to look?
At your existing.
Your existing customers, who you should know, who they are and what they're about, and you can get, instantly.
Yeah.
Company ABC,
Yep.
we've just come up with this. This fits in your wheelhouse. Can we talk to you about it? The acquisition side is generally, there's a campaign, collateral, discounts, often the way.
Yeah.
So that's a primary difference. So, but you never, ever leave the customer experience off the list of what you're doing day in.
How do you
day-
invest in it?
Invest in it?
In customer experience.
Oh. No, it's not a stumping question. It is, first of all, it becomes a strategy, right?
Yeah, you
It's
have to start it from the top down,
Yeah,
like we
you-
were saying with the New World.
Correct.
Yeah.
Then the implementation of it is, first of all, communicate it, engage your people in saying, what does this mean to you? What's ordinary mean to you? What's extraordinary? Now you're pulling out all these stories. These are the examples. And basically empowering people to go do stuff. And the other parts of it is that you recognize great behavior and you tie it to the strategy or customer centricity.
Yeah.
It becomes, Bill, you made Lisa's day just by whatever the little thing you might have done.
Yeah.
Or you held her hand, despite going through different call centers, which we have globally.
Yeah.
You were there the whole way.
Yeah.
And because that's
so
the
not
personal.
only have you got to empower the team to do it, you've got to recognize when they do it.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
when you start to tell people about what that person did, most times the people are going, is that it? That's it.
It does. It seems so simple.
It is. But the biggest thing is about keeping the awareness there. If the awareness is we want to wow our customers, our teammates, our suppliers.
Yeah.
What did you do today to wow somebody?
Okay.
There's a great song that I just cottoned on to. It's called Proud. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's awesome. I play it every day. What have you done today, or what are you going to do today to make yourself proud?
Ooh.
That's a
challenge.
reminder every
Yeah.
day. So at Zappos back in the day, they would say, what have you done today to wow somebody?
Yeah. Well, then, because employee engagement is its whole thing on its own.
Yep.
Yeah. We're trying to talk about connecting employee engagement, getting them to grab onto the strategy and
Yep.
empower them to do it themselves. Other than giving them the praise for when they do it, what are the other things you can do?
Yeah. So as I might have mentioned in the past podcast, it's about setting the company's direction. So the company's purpose, why does it do what it does? Then the other ones then become the values, that this is how we work. As I said, the number one value is we wow people with our service. And you remember, they are a service provider. They just happen to do shoes.
Yeah.
So it's thinking differently, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the other part of it is the vision. This is what we see us doing for customers and for you, and we're going to connect you to.
Yeah.
And by doing that, let's talk about all the things, or some things you can do. As you know, I do Pike's Place Fish Market stuff.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. I will say, though, there's probably a good group of CEOs, managers who are like, oh, vision and values again. Like, they feel like they've done the work, but it hasn't made the change. What do you think's happened there?
Guess where the breakdown is?
Where?
Top. They have not been able to execute the plan and change the culture.
Right. So
And-
they've done the talking, they're not doing the walking.
Exactly right.
Okay.
It's too hard. I need to get a return on investment tomorrow. My financial controller is saying I'm spending $1, right? I want
Yep.
$1.50 back today.
Yeah.
Culture does not change that fast,
Yeah.
but it does change. So this
Yeah.
is what I was saying. It's not easy,
Yeah.
but once you get to that point,
So that New World owner had to keep his foot on the throttle. He had to. Whatever leadership position you're in, you have to keep your foot on the throttle.
Correct.
If you're going to do this.
and you have to be open to basically people who are delivering this experience, which generally are the people at ground level,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
They're the ones.
The people facing.
Yep, exactly. And so the thing is, it's kind of like, so where do I start and stop? So if you're going to time manage me, but I've taken an umbrella and walked a senior person out to their car, are you going to ding me because I spent 5 minutes doing that? And
No.
Exactly. But you will get jokers that will go,
Yeah.
productivity's down. Why? Because Billy's taking umbrellas out and taking people out. Well, the average basket back in my day was worth about $250, right? Average shop. Right
Okay.
now, that's cheap, right? So let's just say your average shopper is about, at grocery, you say $400 to $500.
Oof.
You lose one,
Yep.
right? That's gone.
Yeah.
But if you gain 3, or they stay,
Yeah.
all of a sudden those little impulse buy items that are sitting there and the chocolates and the chips that are on the aisle, they become more appealing.
Because you're in a good
Yeah.
mood now.
Yeah. Yeah. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
It's
keep
a
them.
long game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is a longer game, but it's not overly crazy.
Yeah.
You just have to stick to it, and your leaders need to have to stick to it, and then your teams will get into it, and now you change it. Because the purpose is what's going to get people to come into work, not you paying them or making you rich.
Yep.
Forget that,
Truth.
Yeah.
right?
All right, Bill. How do our listeners get a hold of you, and what's your last kind of words of advice on the matter?
Words of advice. Okay. To get a hold of me, I'm on the Gilligan Sheppard website.
Okay.
Yep. So have a go. My last words of advice is heed what we speak about. Make it an initiative that you're going to commit to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, don't waste your time and your money and your breath. Otherwise, you're going to look silly. So get stuck into it. Have fun with it. And if you're not sure, engage people that do know this stuff.
Yep.
And have a blast by making other people's day.
Love it. Thank you so much for your time again, Bill. Always appreciated.
My pleasure.
Boxes and Briefs is proudly brought to you by Gilligan Sheppard, the problem solvers in business.